very lucky. Like the whole time we were doing this movie, I kept being like, can you believe they're letting us do this again together? Like,
I know. We did that. We did that last movie as well. We would be in the middle of a scene. The director would call cut, and then we'd like high five and be like, "Can you believe this? Can you believe what we're doing right now? Yeah, we're working together again." And then this movie, this is really a dream come true because we have the possibility here to bring the viewers many more of these films. So
yeah,
hopefully people respond well to it, and we're able to do more of these novels, because it's a series of novels. There's 18 novels actually that are from this book series. Yeah, and Dying for Chocolate is the first one.
Goldie is so curious, and she is a caterer, but one of her very, very, very dear friends, something happens to one of her very, very good friends, which launches her into essentially this investigation that she begins to do on her own to find out like how this could have possibly happened and why, which I think is a very human thing to do. But the thing that makes Goldie really special is she doesn't just like stay at home and ask why. She is super proactive. She gets involved. She knows everyone in the community. I forget what somebody on set called her. She's kind of like your community, detective, she knows everything about everybody. But she doesn't love gossip, but she's there whenever you need her. And definitely if your back is up against the wall, you're going to want her in your corner. So I love that about her. And also, I've always said that like caterers or like chefs in general would make really good detectives because their attention to detail is so fine-tuned. And so I think that that's a natural thing for a person who is like a chef to like want to know the details and want to ask the whys and the hows and know all the specificity of all of that. So it was really fun playing that character because I appreciated so much of who she was.
Having the ability to play detective in a Hallmark movie for me was really interesting, and it was something that I was excited to bring something different to the table and show people, a side of me that's kind of been dormant for a minute, and I, taking this role on, I think it was a little scary because I knew I was kind of going into uncharted territory for me that I haven't done in a long time. And you never know how that's going to come across. You never know if it's going to be you don't want it to be forced. You don't want it to be stale and just by rote and not have any kind of personality to it. So for me, it was really important that my counterpart, who's this extremely talented actor, Riley Davis in Vancouver, young guy, 24 or so years old. And I said this to Nikki. I said, man, I hope they hire a great actor to play my counterpart, my detective, this young cop that I'm basically taking under my wing and showing the ropes to, who I have some frustrations with too, because he's so overeager and he's so on my shoulder all the time. And anyways, I was like, I hope this guy is great. And Riley Davis just like knocked this thing out of the park. And he treated me in a way that allowed my character to be who he was. And it helped me ease into that skin, so, so I think, I do these things, I do these movies, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface on where you could take up, where you could take your character. So my hopes is that I'm able to just jump into this guy's skin, over and over again, and I can just find more things that allow him to be a well-rounded human being and detective.
That audiences are going to be so excited to see Andrew in such a different way, because even though my character, I get to be a little more emotional, but I'm still kind of in that zone. right? That because also I do sometimes more of the emotional movies on Hallmark. So like, you've seen me a little bit like this, but I don't think you guys have ever seen Andrew like this. And I think it's going to be so fun for the audience to see him in a really different way, for him to have to not be like the nice guy all the time, and he gets to be a little bit rough around the edges, and kind of use some of those acting chops that are actually really deep in his reservoir, like bring those to the surface, and he got to like access a lot of parts of himself that he doesn't usually get to do in these movies, and he's fantastic in it. And I think that's
well, you don't know that yet. You don't know that yet.
I do know that yet because I keep in touch with little birdies. So I do know
all right. Yeah, I know you do. I know you keep in touch with birdies.
I do know that you are really, really, really good in this.
All right.
So I'm excited for audiences, especially because he's so beloved for the Hallmark audience. So I'm excited for them to see him in such a different way.
It was really interesting. This guy comes, he had left San Francisco pretty recently. His wife had wanted to come back to her hometown of Elk Park, which is in Colorado and just outside of Denver. And so he said, okay, I'm going to get the job. I'll try to find a job there. He finds this job in Elk Park as a cop, as a detective, and being transferred from San Francisco. And he wanted to leave San Francisco because of the crime there and stuff. And then my wife divorces me the minute that we're going to move to Elk Park. And then this murder case happens, and it's a chance for me to really prove myself to this community as well. And it's not so much as me proving myself, it's more just I'm good at my work, and I'm focused, and I don't like having anybody step in my way. And which is really kind of how, the type of person that I am in a way too. If I'm training for something, or if I'm doing something, I like to really take it seriously, and I don't like to be pulled in too many directions. And so taking on this character was such a fun journey to go on, because it was nothing I'd ever been able to do before in a Hallmark movie. So yeah, it was great. It was so much fun taking this character on. Tom Schultz is my character.
So everybody, please tune in.
April 10th.
Oh, yes.
Dying for Chocolate.